Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about quant supply shock, which I think is just inevitable at this point. I want to go over a few things in this video about what is a supply shock, how I think it's going to happen with quant and why, and then what stage we're at, because I do personally think we're getting relatively close to that shocking moment for prices to go up from supply just not being able to pick up with the perceived demand and a more limited supply than what it seems like. So that's what we're going to go on about in this video today. So if you're interested in the tokenomics of quant, what's going to cause a real blow off top in the near future, hang around. I got you guys covered. And if you guys have been here before or you get anything useful from this video, please do press the like and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. I greatly appreciate it. But regardless, let's talk about quant and one of the largest individual price movers that's going to have. So let's do a quick little clarity. Supply shock is not when the price just skyrockets and goes up. That is one of the ending effects of it. But that's just saying that there was a God candle that went up because a lot of people bought. And again, that is the outcome of a supply shock. It's just the ending part. It's the part that we think is exciting. A lot more built into it, and we're already in the process of it. So in short, a supply shock is not about total supply. It's about the liquid supply that's available, right? There's only 14.88 million quant out there, roughly. And it being scarce does not make it a supply shock. There's not enough demand yet by the masses, or at least not perceived demand, for it to really go up. Same thing with Bitcoin. That's another one that's going to have a supply shock in the near future. There's a limited amount, and there's a strong belief that it's all going to be bought up, or the vast majority of it. Bitcoin's easier for us to understand with this. People see it as a storage of wealth. We see it as digital gold. And within a few minutes, I'll get into why quant also has a built-in demand. Those of us who know see it coming, and we'll be excited when everyone else starts to realize it. But when I say it's about liquid supply. It's what's actually there available to be bought. And quant has built-in tokenomics for when people use it, it removes quant from being able to be bought. Awesome. Quant's always advertised far more to institutions than to retail, and that has bothered a lot of people. I understand why they do it, and I'm glad that they do. I think it's the best move for them. Institutions, that's their clientele base. So the way quant works is for people to use the Overledger, they have to pay the licensure fees in fiat, and that amount of fees goes in, buys quant, removes it from the market, and locks it up. So though institutions or retail don't own that quant, it's removed from the liquid supply. And so as soon as people start really onboarding onto the Overledger, quant gets removed, locked away, and it's as if people bought it, except there's no way for any selling pressure. That's even better. It brings in the use to help limit the supply, as well as retail understanding that this is going to be a massive component of the future of finance. We buy it generally in smaller amounts to also help remove it from the liquid supply. There's only 14.88 million, but the amount that's sitting in exchanges and marketplaces to be bought shrinks as people buy it, but also shrinks as quant gets used. That is vastly different from most other crypto. Without going too much of a tangent on that one for today, is if you think about a lot of crypto that you've researched or that you own, most don't actually need the coin, right? There's not a huge point or purpose for a lot of them. And the most common use is for gas fees, which really is just a fee or a tax. Quant has it built in that to use the software, they've removed quant for us. Awesome little caveat. It's a small difference that has huge rippling effects when it comes to the more institutions use the system, the more that liquid supply shrinks, which brings us closer and closer to the supply shock, where there is a higher demand for a fearfully diminishing supply. Keep going on this. Because with the terms of industry, the quant tokens are kind of mandatory. It's a recurring use. Every year they have to buy the licensure. If there's any fees that needs to happen, it's going to go through quant. This is an operational aspect. It's not speculative. And the price is going to be a little sensitive within reason as people start jumping in and using it. Right? Retail says we'll wait for the dip, when really the only people who wait for the dip in crypto are the ones who are adding to their position and they're being long-term holders. Most other retail actually wait until the price starts going up, at least the first time they buy something, because then they believe that it's good because the price is going up. The treasury for institutions and banks, they're not going to care about that. They're going to look at it as we need guaranteed access onto this system for 12 to 18 months, so they're going to buy it. It is believed and perceived that they've already bought a lot of it, or there are large lockups of Quant and staking wallets for Quant. We're not entirely sure which all of them are, but again, shout out to Mind Crypto and a couple other that track these wallets that have just Quant in them. They're pulling it off the market. It's making a smaller supply. And when industry does this, it happens slowly and quietly. And this is where it can be kind of obnoxious for a lot of people, and why Quant has been called, like a dead coin or a stable coin. It's just in a quiet phase, and it can last a long time as things start to build up before the main utility gets exposed. That's the phase we're at right now. We're already past the point where institutions have to learn about Quant. They're past the time where they have to test it. Literally, the largest banks in the world have tested Quant, and it appears like they're moving forward with it, waiting for that official announcement. But when the European Central Bank has Quant stated right on their main page for a little while, that was a good sign. But this is the early adoption phase, right? Prices might barely move at times, volume might look unimpressive, Twitter space and everyone gets bored. But this is where right now, under the surface, Quant's being acquired gradually from these large banks and institutions and being pushed off into staking wallets, and people are buying the licensures to move this Quant aside. And that liquid float just keeps on shrinking. Again, this is the boring phase. We're in this right now. And it's why it can kind of feel frustrating to hold. It's like, why isn't it doing anything? It's not supposed to yet. We're here, learn the game, and we're playing it well. But eventually the supply shock hits, right? It can be a couple different reasons that this could occur. Multiple licenses can end up overlapping. A couple of banks come in and decide we need to have this, and imagine it, let's say if PNC Bank says we need this, then every PNC bank needs to go ahead, they'll pay for the licensure for all those hundreds of banks, and that's going to remove a shit ton of Quant from the side. And then if they do it all at once, we could have a big price up. But they generally are going to do this gradually because they want to be able to get the best price for it as well. They think like institutions and smart money. So it's been slowly piling up. And once it gets announced which banks is buying or has bought the licensures, which ones are contributing into removing the Quant from our system, then retail jumps in and says, wait, holy shit, this is actually happening. This is being used. And that little green candle that happened from announcements of banks like Central European Bank, or just say Chase or PNC or any of them that wants to work on interoperability or on a quantum proof over ledger like Quant, is going to start buying, and that starts trickling up in the green. And that's when retail jumps in and says, oh, we should buy it now because it's going up. And this is going to compound with several different news like CBDC deals and partnerships. And people will sell, right? It will happen. As the price goes up, some people will sell, and that's going to be retail because most institutions aren't buying it. They're using it, which is another great aspect to the tokenomics of Quant, is that it's not going to be like ETFs where institutions and corporations can sell it for a profit. They're not owning the Quant. They're paying fiat, and Quant's getting locked away. So it's only going to be retail that's going to be selling Quant. So it's only going to go down so much because we are the smaller aspect of owners or users or locking up of it. And at some point, we're going to run out of sellers. So the price only goes down so low. And then what's going to happen? Well, the next year is going to come around. More banks are going to join in, and we're going to have more Quant that locks away, let alone more retail is going to buy it at a higher price because they see the value of it, just like they do with Ethereum and Bitcoin and everything overall. So we'll have some blow off tops and then some retracing, just like you commonly expect in the market. But when the supply shock happens and we realize that there is very little quant left on the market and everyone gets greedy because they realize there's only a couple, let's say 100,000 left at one point, we're going to lose that supply very quickly. Buyers and users is going to increase at a rate too quickly, add staking onto this, where then they're guaranteed to have to put so much staking quant away to pay for everyone using the nodes. This is going to be a great time for all of us that hold quant. And this is one of the big things that we're looking for, waiting for. When is the supply shock going to happen? And I think it's going to happen whenever they make the announcements of getting official CBDC deals and listing which banks they are that are participating into it. I think we're going to have a wild ride once that happens, and it's going to be damn more difficult to get your holding in quant. So the minimal supply that we have of quant, in conjunction with the fact that that industry doesn't buy quant, they pay for a program and the quant gets locked away by a third party, quant themselves, keeps it removed. There's no selling pressure. Retail will sell when price goes up so much, but eventually there's not enough sellers and the price just keeps going up at a pretty rapid clip. Supply shocks can happen more than once, because if it goes up fast enough, people are going to sell, which adds a little bit more liquid quant in there for more people to buy. And that's how we end up getting higher highs and higher lows over time. But there's my little rant for today. Quant supply shock. When do you guys think it's going to happen? I've heard some people speculate it's going to happen this year. It could. I think it's based off of when announcements are being stated for CBDC deals and large banks are jumping in. But what are your thoughts? Please put them down below. Thank you as always for being here. I appreciate you all. See you guys again soon.